So you're enjoying the standard reports that you have in Google Analytics 4, but you actually think you maybe need a little bit more detail. You maybe want to get a little bit more granular information. And that's where free-form explorations really help out. So in this video, I'm going to run through what exactly is a free-form exploration, how to build out a free-form exploration, and maybe give you some insight in how you can take that information and turn it from data to insight to action. All right, let's get stuck in. So here I am in my Google Analytics 4 here, and you can see I've started in the home section. But if I just go down to explore, it opens up the exploration section within GA4. And I've got the opportunity here to create a free-form exploration. And you can see I've already started with quite a few. There's two ways to get into this. We can either click blank or we can click free-form. If we click freeform, it comes up with some preset options available to you. And perhaps this is a nice way for you to kind of visualize what information you can get and how that can look in the exploration. But I'm just going to, for this example, I'm going to click back to explore and I'm going to click blank and I'm going to create a new exploration. And you'll see you've got two options here, variables and settings. You can actually click the X button to close them, which will make the visualization bigger. But obviously for this example, we need to add these in. So I always think the variable section is where you add in your dimensions, metrics, and segments that you want to utilize within your visualization. And then the settings section is how you want that visualization to look. So for this example, if I wanted to add a segment, I can click the plus button and add in a relevant segment. I can, of course, create a new segment and utilize that within the exploration there. If I click on the dimension, I can click and include any dimension that I want, as long as obviously it's within the right scope for all the other different dimensions and metrics you're using. And then I can add in my metrics here. So let's go in and start to visualize this one. I just want to see a source medium of my different organic channels. So I'm going to say organic session source medium. And then I'm going to include dimensions here. If I use the search function at the top, of course, you can click on the drop downs here to find the relevant data, but I'm just going to choose session or search for session. And I'm going to choose my session source medium here. And then I'm also going to add in session default channel group, and I'm going to click confirm. I'm not actually going to use the session default channel group within the report or within the visualization, but there's a reason I've added it, and I'll show you that later. And then just for this, I'm going to add in sessions and perhaps another metric around engagement rate. So then I want to add in these to the visualization. So I could drag and drop, but if you just double click on them, they will then get added to the relevant section. And doing that opens up the visualization here. So I've got different session source mediums and then sessions and engagement rate based on that. So you can see, for example, this LinkedIn social has got quite a big engagement rate compared to I think is a referral traffic here. But at the moment, this is just all session source mediums, and I just wanted to look at organic search. And that's why I've included session default channel group here. So if I then click on the filters option at the bottom, I can then choose my filter to just show organic search. And you can see now I've got different organic channels here that's driving traffic. So I've got Google, I'm using UTM parameters on my Google business profile, and I've got different search engines here. I can change the cell type. So I can use plain text, it just removes the bar chart visualization, or I can choose a heat map. I don't find these particularly valuable, but they're there if you need them. I can then change the column group and the start column if required, and change the number of rows and if they're nested or not. Up here, I've got the option to change the visualization. So I could, for example, change this to a bar chart, if that's a much more, for you, a nicer way to view things. I could use a donut chart or even a line chart, but it won't show much. So there are different visualizations you can use there. I could change the granularity when I'm on a line chart to month if required, or week, or even hour. So you can see how this opens up much more opportunity to visualize the data that you need to see. You can, by clicking on the drop down, you can duplicate the report and maybe start afresh. And for this one, you just wanted to see, for example, organic social. Or if you wanted to, you could bring in a different type of exploration, or just add a new free-form. You can then, when you're happy with that, you can then export the data. So you've got some different options here in terms of exporting, and you can share that to other members of the team in read-only mode. What that means is when you share it, they won't be able to change things like the date range. They won't be able to change any of the filters or any of the dimensions and metrics. What they'll need to do then is make sure that they are adding in, or if they wanted to, they could duplicate that report. So I'll show you how to do that now. So when you're happy with it and you've shared it in read-only mode, a member of the team can then click on the 3 buttons here and then click duplicate. And that's when they'll be able to duplicate that report and be able to change the dimensions and the date range and that kind of thing. So a couple of other reports that I've used before or utilized quite regularly is I like this search term report here. So in this one, because I've got view search results as an enhanced measurement, I've added in a search term and where it happens, but I've included where the event name only matches view search results here. That's the filter, so that's why I've got that search term there. I've also got a really nice 404 report. So the way I've done this, I don't know if any data will show, but the way I've done this is the page title I've included in the dimensions, and I've just said only show me where the page title includes page not found. So those are some really neat ways of using the freeform to perhaps build out some additional granularity to get you some insights and data that you need. And then the next stage is for you to gather that information, make a decision on how to improve your website from a user's perspective, and then report back and see what difference that's made. All right, get stuck in today.